Okay. In addition to that, let's see, what else do we have? Um, we have AP Information Night, which was last week. That was live in person, but we're finishing up some recording of it, and we will be able to send that out in the next day or two when we send out this one. So, Frank Sanchez, the proud principal here at Columbia High School. Tonight, you'll be here with Mr. Anthony Vecchione, the Director of Counseling for the middle schools and at the high school, of course. And tonight we're going to kind of go walk you through the program of studies so you are ready, your child is ready for the 10th, 11th, and 12th grade course selections, and that process begins this month. So, Mr. Vecchione, welcome to Columbia, and again, you're going to be co-hosting this with me, so if you'd like to start, we can begin.
Sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here I am giving it away, not yet. Parents can put questions in the Q&A or in the chat. I'll be monitoring that. So go ahead, Mr. Vecchio.
Just to piggyback real quick off of what you said, these slides, as well as the slides for AP night, as well as the 23-24 draft for the program of studies, as well as a descriptive letter with timelines, expectations about course requests, can all be found on the front page of our Columbia High School counseling website, as well as the TA application, the online personal finance class application, and our course request change application. So once this is done, we will also post AP night and the recording of tonight there as well for you to check out. So first, welcome rising 10th, 11th, and 12th grade parents and students. Course request night. So if we want to go to, there we go. Tonight's presentation, what we're going to talk about. We're going to discuss grade level appropriate courses as well as sequences for each department. I have it broken down by each. And then what options your children can have moving forward in terms of coursework. Obviously, there are state requirements, there are credit requirements that the state requires. However, students can pick and choose with electives as well as some extra courses to, market towards their interests a little bit. And then at the end, we'll have a Q&A in case anybody wants to ask a question verbally. As Mr. Sanchez said, he will be responding to the questions asked in the chat. So first is the World Languages Department. Just to set the scene, we offer multiple languages at Columbia. We have Spanish, French, Italian, and Chinese Mandarin. So I'm actually going to let our supervisor, Mr. Robles, Dr. Robles, take the stage here to quickly discuss the course offerings as well as the tracking for said students.
Welcome to the World Languages Department. This video is intended to describe to you our course offerings in world languages for grades 9 through 12. So before we start describing those offerings, let me just share some general information with you. As a reminder, all students need 5 credits of a world language to graduate from high school. So this is just 1 year of a world language. However, remember that college requirements might be very different. In fact, most colleges require that you take either from 2 to 4 years of the same language. Our world languages courses focus on the 3 modes of communication. Those are the presentational, interpersonal, and interpretive mode. In other words, where our focus is on ensuring that you perform well in speaking, reading, writing, and listening. So when you finish middle school, or when you were in middle school, you had 2 choices for languages in our schools. You could either be taking Chinese or Spanish. If you continue with the same, or you want to continue with taking the same languages when you come to high school, these are your choices. So if you continue taking Chinese, the next logical course is to take Chinese 2. If you took Spanish and you did well, your next logical course is Spanish 2. Those both courses, you can take it as an academic course or as an honors club course. Obviously, I would recommend that if you did well in the classroom, that you tried it as an honors course. But ultimately, as you know, that's your choice. Whether you decide to take Spanish or Chinese, academic or honors. If you took Chinese or Spanish in the middle school, but you did not do well or you did not pass the class, you can decide to take that course again in the high school. That would be the first time that it would count in your transcript. So you could take Spanish 1 or Chinese 1 again, or you can decide to take a completely different language. So let's say you took Chinese in middle school, but you want to try something new in the high school. Then you can take either Spanish 1 or French 1 or Italian 1. One thing that is really important is to stick with the same language. As you see, you only need 5 credits to graduate from high school, but you're going to need more years of a language to apply to college, and it has to be at the same language. So if you start with French 1, you should make sure that you cover French 1, 2, 3, including 4, if possible, depending on particularly what colleges you're applying to or your interest. As a 10th grader, you're always going to continue with the following next logical year. So, if you were in Chinese 2 as an 11th as a 9th grader, then your next course is to take Chinese 3. If you were in Spanish 2, Spanish 3. We offer both courses again as an academic course or as an honors course. So that ultimately is your choice. If you took French 1, then you can take French 2, academic honors, same thing for Italian. If you took Italian 1, then the next course is Italian 2, academic or Italian 2 honors. As an 11th grader, the choices continue being the same. You move from Chinese 3 to Chinese 4, from French 2 to French 3, and from Italian 2 to Italian 3. However, in Spanish, it's a little different. There's an additional option at that year. So from your Spanish 3 as a 10th grader, you can choose to continue focusing on the language, and take Spanish 4 academic or honors, or try for an AP course. So at that time, if you completed Spanish 3 honors or if you completed Spanish 3, then you should be ready and you did well for an AP course. In this case, you're able to enroll in our AP Spanish language and culture. And as we move to 12th grade, the process continues being the same. You move from the next logical course to the other. So from Chinese 4 to Chinese 5, French 3 to French 4, Italian 3 to Italian 4. But as you can see, for Chinese, French, and Italian, you can actually also opt for the AP course that year. So we are drawing from French and Italian after completing your French 3 honors or your French course or your Italian course, that the option of taking AP Italian as a 12th grader. In Spanish, it is entirely up to you. You can choose to continue. If you took Spanish 4, so you go to Spanish 5, or if you took Spanish language and culture, you can decide to take AP Spanish literature and culture. Also, although not listed here, you can move as Spanish 2, 3, you took 4, and your last year, you can also decide to take AP Spanish language and culture. So there is an option, once completed Spanish 4, to take an AP course in Spanish. What can you expect? So as you move up in levels, you're going to see that the expectations are higher. It's going to require more accuracy in the language. We continue always focusing on our 3 modes of communication. And our goal is always to continue to develop your skills of listening, speaking, reading, and writing as you move up. You're going to be exposed mainly to authentic text in our courses. You're going to to be reading newspaper articles, pamphlets, letters, articles, any printed material in the target language. To get an idea of what are some of the topics that you're going to study, most of our courses, all our courses are based on College Board themes. They're taught at different levels, but in all of them, we're going to talk about families in different societies. We're going to talk about language and culture, identity, beauty and art, technology, quality of life, environmental, political, societal changes. So the themes continue to be the same. How you approach and how you describe and talk about those themes, it's going to require more accuracy and better level of performance as you move up in every course. So thank you for seeing this presentation. And don't forget, I'm Dr. Ramon Robles, and if you have any questions, you feel free to email me at robles, and the school email address. And it was a pleasure talking to all of you.
All right. So
Welcome to the World Lab.
We want to go to the next slide. So the English department. So the English department. Basics. All students, right off the bat, in order to graduate high school in the state of New Jersey, you must take 4 years worth of English. 5 credits each, 20 credits total. Students select the courses they're eligible to take once they get to the 11th grade year. All courses are full year courses. So we do not split English classes in half to where you could take 2.5 credits of, say, Shakespearean literature and 2.5 credits of African American literature. All courses are full year. English classes, obviously, require reading and writing outside the classroom to succeed. Honors, and especially AP, significantly increase this component. I cannot stress that enough. So what to expect in 10th grade English? So any freshmen that are here currently, or freshman parents, English 1 was required, academic or honors. As a 10th grader, students take English 2, academic or honors. Focuses on formal composition writing, literary canon in terms of contemporary literature, as well as some classics that you may have heard of or even studied when you were in school. It is a big focus on timed reading because it best prepares you for AP English 3 the following year as a junior, if that is the route you choose. In those cases, you could be looking at an AP level, 6 to 8 hours worth of reading at home per week. Additionally, they will brush you up on your writing process as well as your citations. 11th and 12th grade is when you get some choice. So traditionally in high schools in the state of New Jersey, there's usually an English 3 and an English 4 to satisfy your 11th and 12th grade offerings. We do not do that here in Columbia. Instead, we offer you choice. So we have all of these full year courses available to take as an 11th or 12th grader. So as I said before, Shakespearean literature, African American literature. We have both of our APs, AP English Language and Composition and AP Literature and Composition. Language would be the junior level course, and literature would be the senior level course. Please keep in mind, as they are APs, there is a summer assignment and it is required to be turned in on the first day of school. We do have 3 non-literature based English courses that students can choose to take. What we want to make you aware of, though, is that some colleges will not count those courses as an English course when it comes to admissions. So we recommend, first, my recommendation would be, if you're really interested in these topics, research and debate, creative writing and poetry, or journalism, we would recommend you take that as part of your elective cohort. So pick one of the other Englishes as well. If not, you really need to check with the colleges that you are applying to see if they will accept that as a full year of an English. As they don't have any literature component. There's very minimal reading. So some schools, especially the higher levels, push back on those particular three. So if you are interested in those, my recommendation would be to utilize them as a form of an elective. But these are all options that students will have to pick from once they become 11th graders.
And these are great options. I mean, if you look at the program of studies, it's like a college course program of studies with the 11th and 12th grade English. It's so impressive. So very interesting. And we base this by demand. So what we'll do is we'll look at the juniors and seniors, what classes they have selected. Then our supervisors will create sectioning. The goal is to have all schedules done, in June, so students can definitely we can play with them the schedules before the end of the year, and then hopefully students will be able to see them before they get out, if not that last week of June, so they can make some changes if needed. But my point is, some of these will also be dual enrollment, which is something we can talk at the end, which is a partnership we have with Seton Hall as well as Fairleigh Dickinson, because these courses are like college courses. They're honors offerings, and it's very, very impressive. And so it's like college work. And so students, even though if they don't want to take AP language or AP literature, they could take these classes and still have the opportunity to get college credit if the college they go to accepts transfer credits from Seton. So I just wanted to point that out. It's probably one of our greatest features here is the variety of classes in our program of studies.
Moving on. So the frequently asked questions that Dr. Bean Folks asked me to point out. What's the difference between academic and honors? You can see there are similarities. However, the homework is homework. So home reading, home writing, and the actual homework assigned itself is more and more frequent. The amount of reading outside of the classroom increases significantly. And in-class reading is less focused on in the honors courses. Suggestions to do if you are struggling. One, I always recommend, especially if you're taking multiple honors and APs, please leave your conference period open. That is a perfect opportunity for students to meet with their teachers or maybe even meet in study groups so they can either get ahead in work, prepare for a test, prepare for a timed writing assignment, whatever it may be. We have the SLAM Lab, which stands for Science, Language Arts, and Math, where students in groups are tutored by actual certificated teachers in the library. If a student is interested in signing up for the course offerings, all they have to do is go into the library and see Miss Hicks or Miss Kirk, and they can register there. Achieve Tutoring is a little bit more of an individualized tutoring session. They're run primarily by our school counseling interns. And those offerings are, in terms of the courses that they tutor, are by demand. So, for instance, this year, we had a large group of students who were needing assistance in pre-calc. So, we have a lot of our school counseling interns utilizing Achieve Tutoring for pre-calculus. And here is our English department supervisor, Dr. Jane Bean Folks, and you can reach her at that email. To the next department, it's the arts department. In my 3 months here at Columbia so far, The arts department has really, really impressed me. The dedication from the students, the dedication from the community, and the dedication from our staff. I myself um, play multiple instruments. I started as a third grader and I went all the way through college. So the arts have a special place in my heart. But the basics, the state of New Jersey requires that all students take at least 5 credits worth of visual or performing arts in order to graduate. Visual and performing arts can be band, choir, strings, um, any of the fine arts. So, drawing, painting, ceramics. We have a whole list of offerings that we can point to that we will get to actually in a second. Mr. Mano did create some tracks depending on, which area of the arts is your niche. There are courses that do have prerequisites. So students, for instance, if they want to take film 2, they have to have completed and passed film 1 first. This department offers both full year and half year long courses, in contrast to, as I said previously, with the English department. So levels. We offer 3 levels worth of arts courses. Academics, which are your foundational courses, which are for the students who, enjoy it, aren't necessarily that passionate about it, freshmen, or maybe they just want to explore, see what it's all about, see if they like it. Honors kicks it up a notch. A lot of our honors require some form of placement audition or placement art presentation or an actual piece that is reviewed before the supervisor or instructor allows the student to enter the course. And then the AP Arts courses. These are the courses that come the end of the year. There is an exam. If it is a studio art class, they will actually complete a number of art pieces and we will actually submit them to the College Board for review and grading. But we are very arts focused in Columbia. So if a student is a fan of the visual arts, the fine arts, we're talking drawing, design, photography, just the generalized art courses, computer graphics, animation. This is a recommended sequence from our supervisor. So as I said, Art 1, you have to take Art 1 before you can go to Art 2, unless you take a placement exam as a sophomore, junior, or senior to bump up. Down at the bottom, you'll see Film 1 and 2. As I mentioned before, you must take Film 1 before you take Film 2. But as you can see, we have plenty of visual arts courses to choose from, as well as a variety of paths to follow if this is your or your students' interests. Dance. We also have our dance program. So we do have our special dance company that we have had for quite a long time. One of my counselors.
52 years, by the way.
Oh, 52. Okay. One of my counselors was a former member. So she is quite the champion of this program. That does require an audition, which auditions usually take place at the end of April, and at the beginning of May, they will release the results for that. However, if you don't feel like you're ready for that, or you're not classically trained or haven't taken dance class for years outside of school, you can start at the beginning with Dance 1. And then if you decide you like it, you can go to Dance 2. We also have a semester's worth of dance appreciation. This is really a course where you really get to look and explore multiple styles, multiple eras. It's a little bit of history involved in it, but it's more of a foundational course. A little less movement and a little more academic thought. After that is music. So this was my thing in high school. But we have chorus, concert band, strings orchestra that you could start at, as well as music tech as a semester. Once you become a sophomore, classes such as music theory opens up. You can move on to our advanced symphonic band or symphonic choir, as well as the Masterworks Chamber Orchestra, which does require an audition. After that, we have further audition classes, Excelsior Singers, Cannons Voce, Wind Ensemble, Virtuosi Chamber Ensemble. And then if you have pursued the music theory route, AP Music Theory becomes available. So as you can see, students who choose to push and pursue this music route, they will have plenty of options throughout all 4 years of their high school experience. And as shared before, our art supervisor is Mr. James Mano, and you can reach him at that email address there. If you have any questions pertaining to the courses, auditions, or what the expectations are. Social studies. This one is very quick. Mr. Preston wanted to make it as simple as possible. So to set the scene, all students are required to take 3 years or 15 credits worth of history, social studies. All freshmen coming up will take World History 2. The reason we call it World History 2 is because it continues on from the world history that they were taking in 8th grade. After that, they are to take 2 years of a U.S. history. As you can see here, with the sequence of courses, he wanted to make it as simple and straightforward as possible. So as I said, you have your world history, your U.S. history, and your U.S. history. Academic, honors, and then in the 10th and 11th grade, APs begin to open up. Afterwards, if you choose to continue with social studies, if history is something that interests you, I know Mr. Sanchez is a former history teacher, so he would back this there. We have plenty of options that you can take to further. We are piloting the AP African American Studies program. That is one I would recommend as the college, as we are one of the, I don't know the exact number, but one of the few chosen districts and schools in the country to be able to pilot that course. However, we offer psychology, sociology. I'm a little biased. Those are my favorites. At the regular and AP level, AP Euro, government, both comparative and US, economics, Caribbean studies, African studies. We have a lot of choice if the students choose to pursue the social studies further. However, they must at minimum take 15 credits, 1 year worth of world history, and then 2 years worth of US history. And then, as I said, here's Mr. Preston's email address if you have any questions related to his courses.
And that is social studies is probably the most popular of the AP courses because there are so many that I guess are considered electives, right? But social studies technically has 3 years, world history 2 freshman year, US 1 and US 2. We're one of like 2 states that requires 2 years of American history. But that allows you junior year and senior year to take other social science classes, as you mentioned, as electives. So that would not count, right? Because technically, financial literacy is another requirement, and you can take, for example, economics, which is a social studies class, as a way of getting that. But we also offer many financial literacy classes in the STEM, which is next. So we'll go there.
The most popular AP history courses each year seem to be Euro, government, and psychology. However, you are free to pursue any other options. AP US 1, AP US 2. Those are more requirements, so I don't really want to consider them part of the the popular ones because they're required.
Oh, you know what? We just didn't add because I think it's a brand new course. Because it's in the STEM, AP Economics. A
Yes,
parent
it's
asked about
instead.
it. We're starting macro economics that was based
Correct.
on student voice and choice. They really talked about that last year as a course they really wanted to see. So we're starting with macroeconomics this year, coming up now, and then with microeconomics something in the future. But right now, definitely macroeconomics.
Mhm.
Sorry.
So that is run in the next department, the STEM department, which encompasses science, math, your 21st century life and careers electives, as well as your career and technical education. Ms. Parcio went very in depth in explaining her programs, but we are starting with science. The big change that we want to make you aware of is as a 10th grader, you now get a choice between physics or chemistry. So you can go to from biology as a 9th grader to chemistry as a 10th grader, and then to say AP chemistry as an 11th grader or AP physics. Although we would really recommend you take physics first before you go into AP. The same with chemistry. We also offer a 3-year sequence in science research. This is an independent research option and it is at an honors level. It does require students to do outside research and it is built into part of the day. So if you have any budding lab technicians, if you have any budding people that are really into researching specific topics, that could be a great option for you to stand out come college admissions time as, some practical experience. All AP sciences are open to juniors. So regardless of whether you take physics or chemistry as a sophomore, as a junior, you can take any AP science that you would like if you so choose. The state of New Jersey requires 15 credits, otherwise 3 years worth of science. The state mandates are biology or life science, so we satisfy that with biology, chemistry, physics, or environmental science as the second, which again, we have all three, and then a third lab science of your choice, which is basically every option we have that you haven't taken in 9th or 10th grade. So we really do kind of spoil you for choice as you go in this process. But again, the new option, chemistry or physics as a sophomore, you get that choice.
And I
We,
believe, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you. I do
no, go
believe
ahead.
some of these classes, like anatomy, are dual enrollment as well.
Correct. That is correct.
Okay.
Science research program, as I described earlier, it's a 3-year independent research program. It does not replace the graduation requirements. It is treated as an elective. So please keep that in mind. Students will still need to fulfill the state requirements that I just described. However, they can choose to use elective credits starting in their sophomore year to focus on research and particular topics that they're interested in. Sophomore years, you learn how to research. That's always a big one. Research is not for everyone. However, there is a method to the madness, so to speak. So you're going to be reading example research papers, and then you're going to write one, and you get to pick your topic. So you're going to write one on something you're passionate about. Juniors and seniors have 2 options. They can take the biology path, so the biology and life sciences, or the non-biology. The biology allows a biotechnology class design, and you're going to be doing authentic research investigations as evidenced by our pictures down below. The non-bio path allows you to do online research and work with a mentor outside the building in your field. You will also get to publish your research in scientific journals and or have the chance to enter science research competitions. So, again, if we have any budding scientists, if we have any future medicine creators, this may be something you want to consider. There is a cap in terms of the amount of students that can participate in this program. However, if it is something you are interested in, we highly recommend you request it. Math. This is where it gets really complicated. The reason being, when we step up into high school in 9th grade, we have a lot of students who are starting in all different places. Some are starting in Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, Pre-Calc, Calc, all dependent on what their math advancement has been previously, as well as what courses they took in the middle schools. So, Ms. Parcio chose to include pathways with a lot of arrows showing you where you can head per year. We require at least, again, with the state, 15 credits of math. That's 3 years. Algebra 1 and geometry are required. They have to have been passed. If it was taken in the middle school level, for example, if Algebra 1 was taken in grade 8, then the next step would be geometry, grade 9. And then from there, you would still have 2 more years worth of math required. However, Algebra 1 will have been satisfied, so you do not have to worry about retaking that up at the high school. The one thing she did want me to highlight, if you are interested in pursuing either of our AP calculus classes, whether that be AB or BC, it is extremely recommended, highly recommended, that the student the previous year take pre-calculus honors, because a big chunk of the 4th quarter of pre-calculus honors is geared towards the start of AP calculus. So they kind of blend together. So that is something that she really wanted to stress. A lot of the maths, except for Algebra 1, have both academic and honors levels. And we have a new course this year, Statistics and Probability. We had AP Stats, but now we have a lower level stats, Statistics and Probability. If a student has passed AP Calc and they still want to go further, we have options. Advanced Topics in Math, which is treated as an honors. They can go into any of the AP Computer Sciences, or Calc 3, which I never got to, even in college. I took calculus 3 times, and each time I got a worse grade. So calculus is not for everyone. But there are a lot of offerings and a lot of routes that you can take and cater your math requirements towards, as evidenced by all the arrows. 21st century life and careers. These are part of, with the arts, the state mandated elective credits. So aside from the visual performing arts, 21st century life and careers, you have to fulfill at least 5 credits worth prior to graduation. So we have 5 credit courses and we have 2.5 credit courses. So you can either take 1 5 credit or 2 2.5. Doesn't have to be the same year. However, these are your options. You can find this in the program of studies as well as explanations of what each course covers. We do have we have multiple new full year courses. Business management and ethics, business law will be removed. So that is no longer going to be available. It is being replaced by business management and ethics. And as hinted at prior, through our 21st Century Life and Careers and CTE program, we now are proud to offer AP Macroeconomics. And then for a 2.5 credit course, one that I think will be pretty popular, especially it was popular at my previous school as well, sports and entertainment marketing. If we have any potential future sports agents or students who may want to work in the front office of a sports team, this may be, the intro to that, the start of the road towards it. And then, if that's truly where you want to go, there are multiple programs for colleges that help further that in order to get that. Just a little personal experience. I have a very good friend of mine that I grew up with, took that course in my high school, went on to UMass as a sports. I forgot the wording for the major, but essentially to be a sports agent, and he is now one of the assistant GMs for the Toronto Blue Jays. So, TV production. It's
So
a
I just
three.
want to,
Oh,
did we,
okay, go
we
ahead.
just did financial literacy, correct?
We did 21st century life and careers.
Yeah, so I just wanted to let everybody know that all of these classes are on the first couple pages of the program of studies. You can see that, including financial literacy. There was a question whether financial literacy could only be online, but no, there are many options for financial literacy. And even though it's a semester class, even AP macroeconomics can count for financial literacy. Here's the
Correct.
one thing I just will point out. We can't double dip. So, for example, if your child is taking um, business management and ethics as a practical art, as a 21st century class, then they cannot take it for financial literacy, right? Um,
Correct.
so they could take it financial literacy only. You know what I mean? So, like, you can't take the same class for two different graduation requirements. So, I believe I'm just quickly looking. Um,
Economics, personal finance, and entrepreneurship would be one of those. AP
exactly.
macro would be one of those. Capital markets and investments.
Yeah.
I
So
think that
there's
also counts, yes.
yeah. So we put down in the program of studies at the end in red. This counts as well as a 21st century. I'm sorry, as a financial literacy. But then we also have it in the bottom. But you can't
Mhm.
double that. So I just want to bring that up. And so let's continue with our 21st century life and careers.
Well, moving forward, TV production in our CTE program. It is a 3-course sequence that the state monitors. Students have the opportunity to receive college credits, industry certification, as well as work-based learning opportunities, field trips, class speakers, and shadowing and mentoring opportunities. So there is a course sequence that you must follow in the very beginning. Obviously, TV production 1 leads into TV production 2. From there, you can spread your wings a little bit. There isn't that much choice. However, there is choice if the TV production route is the area for you. And then she handily listed a bunch of possible career paths after completion of the CTE program if you choose to pursue that in college or in the workforce. Financial literacy. So, every student must take 2.5 credits of a financial literacy, personal finance, business, and entrepreneurial literacy coursework. There are multiple ways you can satisfy that in district. As you can see from the chart that is again in our program of studies, AP macro counts, business management and ethics counts, full year courses, personal finance in school, business management and entrepreneurship, intro to accounting, as well as that economics, personal finance, and entrepreneurship course that we offer. Those are your 2.5 credit options. We do, For the students who would like to utilize their class periods during the day for courses that they are more interested in or would like to target specific subjects, we offer students the option to do it online, which brand new this semester, replacing formerly known as Money Skills, we have our new Ramsey program, Foundations in Personal Finance or Financial Literacy. The registration survey paperwork is up on the website, as well as I personally blasted it out to parents and student emails with the link to register. Once they sign up and register for that, their counselor will schedule them for a period 11 class. Once that's done, Canvas will automatically update and the students can complete and go through the work directly through the Canvas portal. They must complete the course self-paced by the deadline in order to receive a grade of P for pass and the 2.5 credits. We will offer it in the fall, in the spring, as well as in the summer. To make you aware, the deadline to register for the spring online financial literacy course is February 17th. That's in 2 weeks, Friday.
So I just want to say the financial literacy class, the financial literacy class from Ramsey, what do we call it now? Fundamentals, I think.
It's Foundations in Financial Literacy and Personal Finance.
Okay. I know it sounds crazy maybe to take an online course, but over 25% of students today who live on campus take online courses. So I know that might blow your mind, right? Like, it is important. It is important for our students to learn what it's like to take an online course. I was actually kind of playing with it in my head if we should make it mandatory to be online, just because more and more students are going to be experiencing online classes in college. And that's a whole different skill, willpower, right? Of being able to handle that. So we're not requiring it, but I'm just letting you know that that's something that your child may want to consider.
Yes, it is an
Um,
option. Just to clear some things up, if a student has already taken personal finance in school or taken money skills, whether that be over the summer or whether that be a previous semester, all this is replacing it. They do not have to take it again. We
right.
are just informing the parent and student population that we are no longer working with money skills. We are working with the Ramsey Introduction and Foundations in Personal Finance and Financial Literacy. If a student takes the online course and passes, as I said earlier, they will receive a grade of P for pass. That course does not factor in to the student's GPA. So the online course, although it fulfills the requirements and grants the credits, it is not factored into the student's GPA. If you take a financial literacy course during the school day, it will factor in to the GPA. All right. And as I mentioned earlier, our new STEM department supervisor, Miss Parcio, can be reached at that email address. She is in charge of all of what we just discussed. She has quite a few departments and quite a few course offerings under her. So if you have any questions regarding any of that, she would be your point person to help.
And I will say we're very happy that she's come in and really made the TV studio a real CTE with the options, and we're going to be working on that with computer science for next year as well. So And have you seen, obviously with the computer science, we now have cybersecurity as a new course offered. So those are the things that we're looking at to give our students certification opportunities, and to make their um, uh, resume a little more robust. Just there was a question of computer science being a 21st century skill, and unfortunately, no, it has to do with the teacher certification, which is, I know, sounds bizarre, but for example, in my former district, AP art history was taught by a social studies teacher, so we could not use that for a fine art. Here at Columbia, it's taught by art teachers, and therefore it is taught by an art teacher. And so therefore the certification is an art certification, which allows then a fine art to be counted. It's same textbook, same curriculum, right? It sounds crazy, but that's the way the state code is quite clear on that. But our computer science program is excellent. It's growing stronger and stronger. The scores were awesome. So it just doesn't count as a graduation requirement for 21st century lives and skills and careers, but it is a great elective to take part of. So sorry about that.
No problem. I did see a question pop up. What's the benefit of taking the online course? Really, the main benefit is it opens up a period in your day, in your normal schedule, if there's something you definitely really wanted to take. So let's just say you wanted to take an AP biology, but you have to take a financial literacy class to graduate. If you do it online, that opens that period where you can potentially get that AP biology class that you may be interested in. Again, I want to highlight though, it is self-paced. There will not be a teacher checking up on you to ensure you are on pace. You can do as much or as little as you want each day. However, there is a deadline that it must be completed by.
Yes. And we did say that that's for ninth grade to senior year.
Correct.
Yes. So technically, if a student wants to, rising ninth grader, but you'd have to talk to your counselor to get signed up because you're not in the building yet. But yes, state code allows rising freshmen. They no longer are considered middle school, and anything they take after the summer of their middle school year counts for high school.
Well, technically, after the last day of 8th grade, so the first official day of summer,
Yeah.
they officially qualify as high school students. So technically, rising freshmen can take it during that summer before freshman year if they wanted to.
Right, that's what we're saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That was the question. Yeah.
The online course is neither, I mean, to answer the question that just popped up, since it doesn't factor into the GPA, it is neither academic or honors because that's the ultimate determination in terms of weighting. But since there is no weighting, since it does not go into the GPA, it's not considered either. It's just considered an unweighted course. My department. So, the counseling department, we have a large, diverse group that I work with, that I'm with every single day. Here is our staff. I do want to point out we have 3 new staff members on the team for the time being. Mr. Timothy Gardner is on paternity leave, so his leave replacement until he returns at the end of March is Miss Tish Allen, located in the exact same office. Her email address is tallen and then at SOMSD, etc. The next, Miss Carissa Handler, is on maternity leave. She will be back, should be, by May. Her leave replacement is one of our, as of last semester, former school counseling interns. So he's actually been in Columbia with us for the past year. His name is Mr. Zachary Richard. Again, the same office as Miss Handler, and he can be reached at zrichard at SOMSD, etc. And last but not least, I do want to welcome Miss Ariana Arthurs, who is our permanent replacement for Mr. Nelly, who left us. not to talk her up too much, but Miss Arthurs is a former admissions rep at Manhattan College and is particularly strong in the programming and college process. But all of our counselors are great, and they will all, whichever counselor you have, you will be with all 4 years. Our social worker, Miss Easton, operates through the guidance office or through the counseling office, excuse me. And she has her fishbowl, as we call it, of social work interns. Social work interns are there to help with social emotional issues. They are available each day, every day, and they are available to any student in the school. They do not have caseloads. Our student assistance counselors, Mr. Lupus and Miss Martinez, they are split by grade level. However, student assistance counselors, again, are another line to help with mental, social, and emotional situations, substance abuse concerns, and crisis management. And finally, Miss Marcia Hicks, my right hand woman, is the director of our Minority Achievement Community, so the MAC program, as well as the coordinator of the Counseling Annex. Miss Marcia Hicks also is in charge of the School Counseling Intern Program. If a student requests a school counseling intern, they are utilized, as opposed to the social work interns, for things such as executive functioning, building habits, study tips, academic concerns. They are there to help, and both Miss Hicks and the school counseling interns are located in the counseling annex, which is in the library. Exactly the same place that the SLAM lab and Achieve tutoring takes place. So you won't be able to miss it. It's about a quarter of the entire library in that corner, and any help or assistance in terms of executive functioning, study habits, building on particular habits. So when your students go on to college or the next level, they have them already instilled in them. So it's just normal procedure. Allows them to hit the ground running a little more. So the roles of the counselor, we, in general, we wear many hats. We'll go with. So we counsel students. We work to establish a trusting relationship, and really, we serve as an advocate for the student, whether that be classes, whether that be student conflict, teacher conflict, which hopefully we don't have. They maintain senses of confidentiality, except in certain specific circumstances, harm to yourself or others, if you're an impending threat, or if a court subpoenas them. They consult, so they are frequently the link, middleman, however you want to refer to it, between students, parents, teachers, administrators, as well as community stakeholders. They are someone who follows the student all 4 years, so they best know the student and their history at Columbia, as they've been with them every step of the way. Additionally, they serve as a member of the INRS committee. So again, as these counselors are with them all 4 years, they're able to give insight if a student needs academic supports. We also refer, whether that be school-based resources like the intern programs that I discussed previously, or the SACs that I discussed previously, or our ESS, Effective School Solutions program, or community-based resources if need be. They're able to judge the situation and therefore point you in the right direction if necessary. And last but not least, the traditional guidance counselor role is post-secondary planning and maintenance of the transcript. That's where we monitor student progress, help students identify paths that they may want to pursue in the future as a career, as a major. Again, keeper of the transcript to ensure fulfillment of graduation requirements. So while we have gone over all of them already, it is the counselor's job to ensure that they keep you up to date each and every year along the way to ensure that by the end of senior year, you have everything set and you're good to go. And also, we coordinate college visits. Colleges visit campus all the time, mostly in the fall. We offer college fairs. I do want to highlight, I think it's another slide. We do have our college career, military, and gap year night coming up shortly. That is March 1st, where you can meet with a bunch of college admissions reps from the schools themselves, as well as representatives from gap year programs for community service opportunities, any of the military branches if you're interested, etc. And we also offer financial aid presentations. Usually they are in October, so it's timely for the seniors at the time, as that is when the financial aid applications open for parents. So they'll walk you through that process. As I said, here's your college career, gap year, and military night. We have over 150 representatives confirmed to be attending that night. March 1st, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., and it is in our main gym. They will have tables set up. You are free to show up at any time in there and leave if you choose to do so anytime in that window. They will have literature for you. And the best part is the admissions reps that are there will not percentage wise, will very much likely be the person who reviews your student's transcript and ultimately makes their admissions decision. So it allows them to put a face to a name. So it's not just a random student that comes across their computer when it becomes time to make admissions decisions. You'll also get information. You'll get contact emails to where if you have any questions about specific programs, or if you just want to build a relationship with the admissions rep, hint, hint, wink, wink. It is an option. It's open for all students. You do not have to be a junior or a senior. You could be a freshman. Heck, you could be an 8th grader if you wanted to come by. It is open to all, parents included. All we do ask, though, is if the school requests information, say email address so they can keep in touch, we would like you to have the student share theirs, not the parents. Or if you create a separate email specifically for college, which is something I personally recommended when I was a counselor, go that route. This is kind of a time to let your student kind of take the step forward and establish that connection themselves. College admissions, and I cannot stress this enough, is still a human-based process. So it's not an exact science. I cannot tell you, having been a reader and in rep as a grad assistant at TCNJ while I was in grad school, I cannot tell you how much of a boost it gives to a candidate to have met with, asked questions, reached out to the rep to show interest in the school. This is above and beyond visiting the actual campus. Puts a face to a name, it makes it a little more of a relationship, and it does ultimately play a positive role when they eventually review you. It is a human-based process. So I always tell my students, if your admissions rep spilled coffee on their shirt on their way into work in the morning, they may be in a less than good mood. They may reject more students that day. However, if they just got engaged the night before, they will probably accept more students than normal that next day. It is a human process. Therefore, it is not an exact science. So we can help guide you, give suggestions, present data that would back said suggestions to where we can point you in the right directions. However, as always in life, nothing is ever guaranteed. But please attend, as it is a great opportunity for our students.
Mr. Vecchione, we're going to have maybe some computers up there too to try to teach parents if they're interested in score or
Absolutely.
the different. Okay, that's a good idea.
Yep.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, this is our first time having one since the pandemic, so we're excited, Mr. Vecchione, for you bringing that back. So
We've
thank you.
been on the phones, calling, reaching out to schools, saying, "Hey, we have this night. Do you want to join?" We initially started with, I want to say at the beginning of last month, we started with about 35 to 40 schools. And we've been hitting the phones, all of us, reaching out, trying to get as many schools as possible to come visit. So we are particularly proud that we've brought it up to just about 150. We've
That's
done some
great.
legwork, and we have their confirmations, and we're really excited to welcome them.
So can you also let us know when, I'm not sure if there's a slide for this, when we start selecting classes?
Yes. So
Oh,
there we
right
go.
here.
So it's
All right.
it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be discussed. So this is me, the director of counseling. You can reach me at that email address if you have any questions about anything regarding my department, what services we offer, um, any concerns you may want to share. You can always reach out to me. As Mr. Sanchez has hinted, course selection. The portal opened today officially in Power School. It will close on March 6th. It is open for students and parents to go in and request their courses through their Power School portal. The link is here. Again, February 7th to March 6th. If a student would like to change a course post March 6th, they must meet with and speak with their counselor. Their counselor will be able to do it. However, after March 6th passes, students and parents will no longer have access to the request. So, this is the page you are going to see when you enter into the system to select classes. At the top, you have mandatory classes. Those will be things that you have to take, you can't avoid. So for freshmen, there's going to be phys ed and health in there. For the rest of you, there will be lunch. Then you go subject by subject. When you want to pick a course, you click the pencil. It will then present you with the options that are relevant for your grade level. You pick one, or in the case of electives, if they're half years, two, and you click submit, and it will populate on the screen. Here's the example of what's going to come up when you click the pencil. In this case, it's English, and they picked African Literature Honors. You scroll down to the bottom. You always want to make sure you scroll down to the bottom because there might be a second page worth of options. You click OK, and it populates into your list. And that, if you notice here, that red exclamation point down at the bottom, there we go, I zoomed in for you. Once you have the correct, or you have selected a course, it becomes a green check mark. Once you have all green check marks, you're good to go. Now, there is an elective requirement as discussed below. We offer you the choice to select your first request electives and backup electives. Please be aware, the program, Power School, and the counselors will do their best to attempt to get you your first choice electives. However, the way the system works, your academics and requirements for graduation go in first. Once those are populated, the periods that are remaining, the system will look for your elective requests. If they're there and available, the system will schedule you for it. If it's not available, it will then defer to your alternate choices. If that's there, it will allow you to schedule for that.
So
However,
I'm
go
just
ahead.
gonna, just a couple questions saying that I can't choose a class for next year. It's blank. Is that because it hasn't started yet? Probably.
Manjeet has it kicked in, so it may populate tomorrow.
Okay.
As today was technically the first day that it was supposed to be opening. However, I did get a message earlier in the day about that, and I forwarded it to our tech department, so they are working on that as we speak.
And if they want to take 9 periods, a lunch and 8 academic classes, does the computer let them do that?
Yes. So
Okay.
in
That was
this
the,
example, you could see up at the top, social studies electives if they want to take a social studies elective or another subject elective, as well as down at the bottom, additional requests. That's where you would want to put that 9th period request.
okay. Perfect.
So on average, students take 35 credits. But if they take 9, they have that 9th period, it'll be 40. Submission errors. So when you scroll down to the bottom and click submit, if you have not completed every step, you will get this notification telling you exactly what you didn't do. So it does not allow you to submit a not complete request form. A little bit of a failsafe for you guys. And then again at the bottom, like I said, you scroll down, click submit, although the arrow is pointing to the time, not towards submit, but we can ignore that for now. And you'll be brought to your review selections. This is how it will show up on the counselor's end as well. You can print this out. The counselors will have access to it at all times. Again, past the March 6th deadline. But right here, class registration is what you want to click to get started through it. So this is essentially like when you buy something online, here's your receipt page. After this, students must complete the student course, parents must complete the student course request verification form. The steps are in front of you. You log into your parent portal, you select forms on the left side of that navigation menu. Again, right here on the left side, there will be a forms icon. You choose the form student course request verification for school year 23-24. You review it. You enter your name, the date, and initials to indicate that you've reviewed your student's choices, and you press submit. If you're having difficulties accessing your account, you could take that link, and it will walk you through how to regain access to it. Electives, one more time. They are placed last in the student schedule. We allow you to pick 2 or 1 if it's 5 credits of your primary choices. And then we also allow you to pick alternate choices if your primary choices aren't available. But the key thing to know is electives are not guaranteed. We will do everything we can to do our best to get them. However, if it is not running or if it's not offered that period, the program will do one of 2 things. It'll either A, leave a hole in the schedule, and in that case, when the counselor prior to the end of the year goes through and reviews every single one of their student schedules, I refer to it as scrubbing. They will see that, they will call the student down, and they will discuss what their options are. Or B, the computer will choose to enroll them in something available that fills one of their outstanding graduation requirements. Electives are not guaranteed. As far as when you submit your course requests, it does not make any difference in terms of when you submit it. So the people who submit it February 10th don't get earlier cracks at it in comparison to someone who submits it March 1st. That does not happen. Everyone puts their requests in, the portal closes, and then we review sections, and then we run the system to apply courses. So it does not matter when in the window you submit your requests in terms of who gets what first crack at it. Electives, however, are given to seniors in priority in those when they're available. It's a senior privilege, especially in the case of seniors who have certain elective requirements they need to fulfill in order to graduate with their cohort. I did see a question. Do electives ever fill up? The answer is yes. Every class has a cap in terms of the amount of students that are allowed to be in there, both for practical purposes, like how many desks, how many people can fit in the room, but as well as some safety concerns where we have to put caps. So the answer is yes. However, there is no one number that I can give you because it varies by the class.
Yeah, and it really, we build our schedule around demand. What usually happens is, for example, we just started AP African American Studies, right, for next year. So we don't know how many sections that will be, but we know that we'll probably take away from other social studies classes, right? Those kids were going to go somewhere. So it's, a new course, I don't want to say new course cannibalizes another, but there's definitely ripple effects that happen. And so it doesn't necessarily mean we limit classes, but for example, CAD was the example I gave in the answer. We just have one teacher who does the CAD classes. And even though teachers teach 5 classes, we have him teaching sometimes 6 classes, right? An additional class to meet the demand. And yet we could have run probably another course this year and we didn't. So we didn't run 7. So some things are just naturally limited. But at the end of the day, we don't just run out the same schedule every year. We look at what student demand is, and then we adjust accordingly.
Correct. So once March 6th passes, we take a big picture look. What are our baseline beginning numbers? We then hand that to the department supervisors who take a look at what the requests are for each of their courses. They discuss how many sections of each course they fit with how many requests and how many students they want ideally in each section. They give that to me. And then my department, as well as the supervisors, begin crunching away. The idea is to get the most students in as many of their classes that they requested as possible. That is the ideal. But we moved the process a month earlier this year than last year because I wanted to make sure we had enough time to really plan and prepare and get things structured a little earlier than normal. So we have from the middle of March all the way to the end of the June that we could play around, we can move things, we can try things out, and ultimately get the best master and individual schedules possible.
All right.
So that is our presentation tonight. I know many of you have been submitting questions in the chat. Mr.
They're all
Sanchez.
answered, I think.
All right, Mr. Sanchez has been answering.
Oh, so the one question I don't know actually is when they're applying for an auditioned class, do they just put the class they hope to get in because they have to register before auditions?
No.
What
So
they
I was told directly by the teachers,
Mhm.
mostly Miss Pointe du Jour. However, they must reach out to that teacher to make their intentions and their will or desire to audition ahead of time, and then auditions will take place. However, the student will need to pick something else just in case. So we always defer to it not happening. I'll give you another example. If a student is going to do an advancement course over the summer in math, let's just say they're in geometry, next class would be algebra 2, but they want to take pre-calc the following year. So they choose to take algebra 2 over the summer as an advancement. When you go into course request, even though you're planning on taking algebra 2 as a summer course, you must request algebra 2 as
Okay.
if you're not taking an advancement course. Once the counseling office receives either notification that you have made whatever program or group that you auditioned, or when the guidance office receives that transcript with confirmation of a passing grade, we will manually go in and update that. So I hope that answers that question. Are there any others we can help address? I know Mr. Sanchez is still here, even though his
Yes.
camera's off.
Biotech class question. What do they take after biotech in 10th grade? Is that a semester class?
There's no specific track for biotech. So it's
Okay.
not like they're locked in. They can kind of take it however they want to go. My recommendation, if that's the kind of field they're looking for, maybe an anatomy as a part of an elective, maybe a CAD, maybe some form of engineering, because it all kind of pools together and will help give practical experience come college admissions if that's the route you ultimately want to go.
Okay. So we will have this um, available for parents who could not make it. Just there is a question, I guess, with labs. Like if I'm taking AP chemistry or AP physics, right? That's 2 periods. So is that
Correct.
something I have to think about when I'm filling out this form?
Yes. Yes, it is. But labs are not every day.
Labs
But
are
they
twice, so
are.
that could be in your 9th period if it's available. Although I
It,
don't,
it
yeah,
could be. It
that
could.
could be your
Um,
lunch, could be period 1.
yep, it could be. But that is something you might want to take into account, especially if it's an AP. Because again,
Yeah,
like I said before, if you're a first time AP taker or you have a bunch of them in your schedule or a bunch of honors in your schedule, you really want to consider, at least consider, leaving your conference period open so you could utilize the support resources available, just in case.
okay. All right. Well, so I guess that's it. We're gonna have this filled out. I'm sorry, I had to answer a question about option 2. I answered it. I feel good. All right, everyone, and we got you done before the State of the Union, so
Great.
that's good news. I'm gonna check in to see how we're doing in basketball, but other than that, another great day here at Columbia High School. Mr.
Mhm.
Vecchione, thank you so much for your expertise,
Thank you
and
for having me.
we will have next 2 weeks, I believe, a freshman night, and we moved it to, I believe, the Thursday. I hope you're
Correct.
available that Thursday. Perfect.
Mhm.
All right. So, everyone, thank you so much and have a great, great evening.
Thank you.